Hello everybody, it's Sylvie, welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Today I'm talking about the tarot decks that I own, that are part of my collection, that I really don't use, but I still don't plan on getting rid of them. These are the ones that are staying. That's really the collection part of the collection. For the most part, I like my deck collection to be a working collection. And for the most part, if I'm not getting on with the deck, if I struggle to read with it, if I don't really like it, I'll move it on. But I have a handful of decks here that I really don't use. One of them I never use for anything, and most of these I just use for very specific purposes. And there's a couple that I don't use but I want to use, and that's why I'm not getting rid of them. So I'm going to get straight into it with the Waite Smith, funnily enough. This is my only copy of the Waite Smith with Pixie's original artwork. This is the Centennial edition, as you can see. So I think we all know what this looks like, but I'll do a little flip through anyway. And as you can see, this one is in order, because when I say I don't use it, what I mean with this deck is that I never use it for readings. I never do a tarot reading with this copy of the Waite Smith. Or indeed any Waite Smith, because it's the only one I own. I do occasionally use this for reference, and I actually have the Queen of Swords sitting in the back of my phone case here, so I couldn't use it for a reading really if I wanted to, because it's not a complete copy of the deck. So I own this, I don't use it for reading, I'm not getting rid of it because I think it's handy to have a copy of the Waite Smith for reference. I actually did use this in a recent video, my mapping the minors onto the majors video I did, playing with the tarot system and sort of assigning a major arcana card to each of the minor cards in the pentacle suit, matching up themes and ideas and things. And I used this deck for that because, like I say, it's a really handy reference deck. It's a good kind of library deck. Everybody recognizes it. Sometimes when I'm doing something like the deck and walk, or if I'm looking at a new tarot deck, I like to have this as a comparison, which is also why it's in order. And yeah, I have this, I don't use it, I'm not getting rid of it. Okay, next up, this is actually another Waite Smith, and I had this recently in a video. It might have been my Tarot to the Extremes. Yeah, this was my worst shuffle in my Tarot to the Extreme tarot tag that I did. And the reason I don't read with it, and like you can see like how slippery it is. Oh god. The reason I don't read with this is because it's impossible to shuffle. But I'm not getting rid of it because it's pretty, it's pink. It is, I think, as I said, it's aggressive pink and I like it. But yeah, I can't read this, which is unfortunate. But I want to get a big ass frame and like frame the whole deck. I think that would be really cool. For the moment, it's honestly just gathering dust in the back of my cupboard. But I don't use it for anything. This is the deck in this video that I really just never pull out for anything, except apparently to talk about how bad the cardstock is in videos. I guess this video is some kind of like opposite or inverse like deck declutter. Like these are the decks I'm not using, but they're not going anywhere, but they're not in my working library. I have a database in Notion of all my tarot decks, and I have a tab that is just what I've tagged as my like working decks, and these are not in there. So next up, this is the Lord of the Rings tarot deck and card game. So this one, I was really pleased. Is this out of print? I think this one is out of print. And I tracked down an affordable copy, an affordable, complete, not trash to shit copy, although the box is bashed up. I found a copy on eBay. And the reason I have this is purely for a collection kind of reason. I love Lord of the Rings. Let's zoom in. I love the art style. It's Peter Prokonik who did the artwork for this deck. I have another couple decks by him. I really like his artwork, and I just think they're so cool. And as it says, it is a card game. So this with victory points and things, and these icons in the corner are for the card game. So I don't think I've used this for tarot readings. I actually don't think I've used this yet for to play the card game that it's designed for. But I love this. I have this. This is just for the collection. Like, I really like Peter Kokonek's artwork. I really like Lord of the Rings, and the bad video game art kind of situation that's going along here with the backgrounds and this masonry stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? It looks like kind of 90s computer graphics, early 2000s computer graphics. And I just love it. I think it's so cool. And it's also really cute. Like, each of the cards has been assigned a moment from the Lord of the Rings books that suits the card. And it's just a really nice thing to have as a fan of the Lord of the Rings. So I love this, and there's absolutely no chance of me getting rid of it, but there's also a very slim chance of me actually reading with this anytime soon. Although you could. Like, it's a perfectly adequate tarot deck. It's a full tarot deck, and the scenes that have been chosen to represent each card are pretty spot on. Like, I've been through this and I was really pleased, like really impressed with the choices. Like, it's very clearly made by fans of the series, unlike some of the fandom decks that get put out these days. So yeah, I think this is really cool. But I don't read with it. Okay, let's drink more coffee. I'm having real trouble getting my words out today. But the next video, oh dear, the next tarot deck that I have is the Dungeons and Dragons tarot deck. This is the one that was put out last year. It's the official one, published by like Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast. And I have trouble getting out. There we go. I have the first printing that doesn't have the suit names of the minor arcana on the cards. So we've got our mages, but the minors and the courts. Like, I think this is the Queen of Cups, maybe? And it's not even cups because they renamed the suits to be Dungeons and Dragons stats. So like this, I'm pretty sure this is the Six of Pentacles equivalent. I do not off the top of my head remember what the Pentacle suit is being called in this deck. Anyhow, I really haven't used this as a tarot deck. It's just an addition to the D&D shelf in our house, basically. Would I use it more if I had the later printing? Maybe. But I could just write the elements for each suit on the card. Like, I would have no problem doing that. But I quite like it just as it is, honestly. I'm not in a major rush to work with it as a tarot deck. I just like having it handy. The way I do use this is to pull cards for like character backstories, which is really fun. And honestly, I just like flicking through it. I really love the art. I really like the D&D art style. I think it's really gorgeous. And I really like D&D in and of itself. So yeah, this is a really cool deck. I don't read tarot with it. And I have no real intention to, but I also have absolutely no intention of getting rid of it. Like, some of them I feel like are quite sensible. Like, this is the swords equivalent, Seven of Swords. And this is the Nine of Cups equivalent, I think. I'm probably wrong now I've said all that. Who knows? Pretty sure that's the Knight of Cups. But I'm pretty sure also that, like, I think this is the Five of Swords. I'm pretty sure that the courts I actually would rearrange if it was up to me. So I think that's also why I'm not too fussed about getting a second printing, because a lot of the courts don't make a whole ton of sense to me. You know what? This might actually turn into a reasonable length video. There might be a reasonable amount of video instead of upwards of an hour, which is what I seem to have been doing lately, which is maybe a bit much. Okay, next up. No, that's the right way up. This is the Art of Adventure Tarot. So I just never use this deck, and I really don't know why. When I did that series of my favorite cards in each minor suit video, like I remember this Two of Swords came up. This deck came up a lot. I really like a lot of the imagery in this deck and the way it visualizes the meanings of the tarot. It's really cool. It's really gorgeous. I put this in my summer tarot deck basket. Didn't really use it. I don't know why I don't reach for this. I think it's really, really cool. It's a peoply deck, and I don't love a peoply deck, but I don't think it's any more peoply than your standard Rider-Waite Smith, which I don't have a problem with. Like, it's a Rider-Waite Smith clone, more or less, let's be real. I don't know. It might be the cardstock, because the cardstock is kind of like, it's so smooth, it's kind of slick and slimy, and that's unpleasant. Like, I don't know, it's really cool. I love the art style. It's that like rubber hose art style, right? Like, this is such a cool Eight of Cups. Like, it's a Rider-Waite Smith clone. It's just this very, very cool art style. It's like a little bit steampunky. It's a little bit like vintagey. It's very, very cool. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't use this, but this is one of those decks that I want to use, and that's why I'm not getting rid of it. And I don't know what it is about this deck in particular, because I've had that with other tarot decks where I'm like, you know what, I don't really use this, I'm not going to bother keeping it around. And this one, I'm like, I don't really use it, I refuse to let it go. So in a similar-ish vein, God, the weather today is extremely gloomy and grey and overcast. So I'm relying on my lighting, and anything metallic is just not working. But anyway, this is the Hieronymus Bosch tarot. This is the mass market that was put out by Rockpool last year. I got mine earlier this year. I think it's super cool. I've spoken about this a few times. It's not really a tarot system, because as you can see, although coins is a tarot suit, but as we go through, the majors are all renamed, and then the minors have been reworked into, like here, birds, into these multiple, or more multiple than the traditional minor arcana. There's a lot more suits, and they're these kind of truncated court card suits. It's weird. And then we've got these keywords. So I want to be using this as an oracle deck. I just forget that I have it for, like, lined up for that purpose, and I never really reach for it. But I think this is really cool. I want to start using it. I'd quite like to start using it as a tarot, but it's got its own system with these keywords. There's like additional elements in there. I want to say it's like got an alchemical sort of slant to it in the guidebook. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will just start using it as a 78 card oracle deck, because like I say, it has got these keywords, and it's the kind of keywords I like in an oracle deck. We've got the title, and then we have like multiple keywords on each card, which is my favorite kind of oracle deck. And it's Hieronymus Bosch art, so it looks really cool. So yeah, I have this. I don't really use it. What is this? Like, it's just so weird. This little figure, King of Coins, like it looks a bit like a fish, but also a person, or maybe something out of like Star Wars. I don't know. Anyway, it's really cool. I don't use it. I'm not getting rid of it. Okay, this is going to be the last tarot deck on this list, and this is the one that is closest to going from I don't use it but I won't get rid of it to I don't use it so I should get rid of it. And this one, as you can't tell from the plain cloth bag, this is the Soul Cats Tarot. So this one is more of an I tried to use this and hated the guidebook kind of a deck. So this one is sort of on the back burner until I work out how I feel about it. I used it as my daily draw deck for a month or so back in the summer, which is a practice I do to like not exactly deep dive but just get to know a deck a little bit better. Is I pick a different deck each zodiac season and just do a daily pull and read the guidebook for a month. And I hated the guidebook for this. Okay, hate is a strong word. I didn't like it. It was a bit positive spin, and it was a bit, it didn't seem to know what it was doing. Like, I wasn't sure if the Soul Cats was its own world and it was deviating from the Rider-Waite Smith or not. Like, it just didn't really seem to match up. The meanings in the guidebook versus the artwork versus the original Rider-Waite Smith meanings, like, it was a little bit of a mishmash, and it just didn't really seem very clear to me. And then also it was more of a positive spin on things, or more of a, I don't want to say shallow because that sounds rude, and I'm not trying to be rude. It was just a bit more of like a straightforward and more on the love and light side of a tarot deck than what I usually prefer. So that, combined with like not being sure if it was just a Rider-Waite Smith clone or not, I didn't enjoy the guidebook. I didn't get very much out of it, and I haven't really reached for the deck on its own since, and that might be just something I need to get over because I had a not great experience with the guidebook and just need to kind of get over it. I don't know, we'll see. I think it's a really, really beautiful deck. The artist for this is the same artist who has done the Oak, Ashen, Thorn, Smoke, Ashen, Embers, and there's a new Oracle, isn't there, which I won't be getting because it's single keywords, but yeah, the art's gorgeous, and like, I love a cat deck, so I probably should just reach for this on its own and ignore the guidebook completely. But until I like decide how I feel about that, I haven't really reached for this, and it may or may not stay in my collection long term. We'll see. But yes, that is the, how many decks was this? 7? The 7th deck in my little stack of I don't use it but I'm not getting rid of it tarot decks. So in the interest of trying to keep this one brief for you, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you also have decks that fall into that I'm keeping this just for the collection category, or if you're a bit more ruthless and only keep working decks in your collection. I'd be interested to know because I'm nosy and I know we're all different. But anyhow, thank you so much for watching and sticking with me to the end. Give me a like if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.